Google search is becoming a decision engine, and today we want to talk about what the rise of zero-click search means for remodeling contractors and what you need to do about that. Less than 1/3 of Google searches actually produce a click. That may be surprising to you. For years, remodeling companies measured online visibility through rankings, website traffic, and clicks. But what happens when most people no longer leave Google after searching? Research published by Spark using data from SimilarWeb, mobile and desktop clickstream data that was released earlier this year, found that 68.01% of U.S. Google searches ended without a click during the first 4 months of 2026. Now in 2024, that figure stood at 60.45%. So this represents an increase of 7.5 percentage points in 2 years. The research also found that approximately 32% of searches produced some form of click. So what you need to understand is that only 32% of the searches being done result in any type of click. And out of that, roughly 39% ended the search session altogether, and about 29% led to another Google search. So of every 1,000 US Google searches, only about 232 clicks reportedly reached the open web. So that should get the attention of any remodeler contractor who still treats website traffic as the primary proof that marketing is working. But the decline of the click is not really the whole story. It's the visible symptom of a much larger structural change. And if you've been paying attention to any of our webinars or any of my podcasts lately, you'll know that Google is moving from a system that points people towards information to one that researches, summarizes, and compares, and then increasingly acts on the searcher's behalf. And as we explained in our recent white papers, The Silence of the Agents and Search After the Search, the competitive question is changing. The question is no longer only can we rank high enough to earn the click, it is becoming, does our digital ecosystem give AI enough confidence to understand, trust, and actually recommend our company? Here's what the SimilarWeb data actually shows. Zero-click search has accelerated. Zero-click search is not new. Spark first published research in 2019 showing that approximately 49% of Google searches at that time ended without a click. And by 2024, that figure had risen to 60.45%. And now in the 2026 research, it has reached 68.01% as of the end of April. So the direction is unmistakable. A growing share of search activity now ends inside of Google. Sometimes the user receives their answer immediately. Sometimes the user refines their search query. Sometimes Google sends that user to Maps or to YouTube or to another Google-owned property, and that's to Google's advantage. That's how they make their money. But in each case, the traditional assumption that a search produces a visit to an independent website becomes less reliable. And again, remember, for every 1,000 US Google searches, the study estimates that only about 232 clicks reach the open web, meaning go to an individual website. So a click does not always mean a website visit. The any-click category includes organic links to the open web, paid ads, and clicks to Google-owned properties. And that distinction is important. Search activity can remain strong while the percentage of users actually reaching a contractor's website continues to shrink. And historical comparisons do require context. The data providers and user panels changed across historical studies. Earlier research used JumpShot and Datos, while the 2026 study used SimilarWeb. And these are not perfect apples to apples comparisons. So responsible analysis should acknowledge that limitation rather than present the historical numbers with any kind of false precision. But even with that caveat, the long-term pattern remains consistent across the available evidence. Google is retaining more search activity inside of its own ecosystem, and readers can examine the complete methodology and all of its findings in SparkToro's 2026 zero-click search report. And we've got a link to that down below this video, or if you're listening to the podcast, it's also in the description. Now, zero-click search is the bridge to AI-mediated discovery, and I want you to understand this, because it is tempting to treat zero-click search as a traffic problem. But that framing is really too small. The deeper shift is from link retrieval to synthesized decision support. AI overviews, knowledge panels, local results, video summaries, and conversational search features reduce the need for users to assemble their information manually. So instead of opening 10 tabs, a homeowner can describe a project, ask follow-up questions, compare options, and receive recommendations inside one interface, making that process much more simple and efficient. And Google's guidance continues to emphasize helpful, accessible, well-structured content. So contractors should still follow sound Google Search Central SEO guidance, but they should understand that content is now feeding not only ranked search pages, but systems that are built to interpret, cross-reference, and synthesize information from across the web. So that's why our analysis of AI agents, machine trust, and local market dominance argues that the machine increasingly becomes the first filter, and businesses that make it through that filter get considered. Businesses that don't may never get seen. You have to remember that the consumer journey is now moving upstream. So in the traditional journey, the homeowner types a keyword, Google displays listings and advertisements, the homeowner opens several websites, reviews portfolios, service information is compared, the homeowner calls or submits a form. Well, that's not the way things are working now. The emerging journey is the homeowner describes the project conversationally, which is a much more lengthy, detailed description. An AI system gathers that information across multiple sources. The system evaluates reputation, credentials, service fit, and authority. The system narrows the options before the homeowner ever visits a website. Human contact occurs later after more of the decision has already been shaped or formed. Now, the search still happens, the comparison still happens, the shortlisting still happens, but the contractor may simply never see those intermediate steps in their analytics. And why most remodeling contractors are more exposed than the average business is really critical, because remodeling is not a commodity purchase. It's a trust relationship with very high stakes. A homeowner is inviting a company into a private space, They're committing significant money. They're accepting weeks or months of disruption, and they are authorizing permanent changes to a valuable asset. And because that is a complex decision, they are evaluating more than price and proximity. They are looking for evidence of communication, quality, professionalism, schedule management, workmanship, cleanliness, problem resolution, financial stability, and long-term accountability. So AI systems are going to attempt to synthesize many of those same signals. They may evaluate review detail, licensing information, project documentation, service area clarity, website structure, video content, third-party mentions, and whether the company's information remains consistent across the web. So this raises the stakes. A traditional map pack may display several businesses. An AI-generated answer may surface one recommendation or a very short list. The competitive difference is no longer simply first position versus fifth position. It may become more inclusion versus invisibility. And that is why AI-driven local SEO for remodeling businesses has to be viewed as more than simply a keyword exercise. You see, traditional SEO metrics are becoming incomplete. Rankings, impressions, sessions, click-through rate, calls, and form submissions still matter, but the problem is this. These measurements assume that it's a human-facing interaction that's producing a trackable event. But AI evaluation may happen before the contractor earns an impression, a visit, or a click. A homeowner might ask their AI assistant to find a reliable kitchen remodeler in a particular neighborhood with experience in older homes, strong communication, and transparent budget guidance. The system can research that request across numerous sources and produce a short list without creating a traditional website session. So a stronger reporting model should include branded search growth and direct traffic, qualified lead rate, close rate, and revenue by source, review quality, topic coverage and reputation trends, consistency of business information across priority platforms, visibility in AI answers, citations, and recommendation sets, assisted conversions, and cross-channel influence. If you need a broader measurement framework, we actually have a guide to data-driven marketing and remodeling ROI. You can get that on our website. Now let me say this. SEO is not dead. It's being absorbed into a larger system. So as a contractor, you shouldn't abandon SEO, but AI systems are absorbing it. They still depend on discoverable, indexable, well-structured information, but strong organic visibility is going to influence the sources that are cited. Local search still generates high-intent opportunities. The website still remains a critical source of business facts and expertise. It's a strong data layer, but page-level optimization is no longer the entire game. The emerging standard is entity optimization, making the business easy for machines to understand as a complete, credible, and consistent organization. Page optimization asks, can this page rank for a target keyword? Do its title, content, links, and technical signals support that query? Entity optimization asks, does the web consistently describe who this company is? Are its services, locations, credentials, and reputation clear? Do independent sources reinforce the same facts? Is there enough evidence for an AI system to recommend the company confidently? Contractors still need strong technical and local search foundations, and they need strong local SEO. Both are designed to build strong foundation and account for the larger shift towards AI-mediated discovery. Now, there are 5 foundations of machine trust. Number 1 is entity consistency. Your company name, address, phone number, service areas, website, business categories, hours, licensing details, and service descriptions should remain consistent across the platforms that matter. Every conflict creates interpretive noise, and that noise makes it harder for a machine to resolve scattered mentions into one trusted business entity. You also need review depth. Generic 5-star reviews have value, but detailed reviews carry more meaning. Reviews that discuss communication, schedule management, cleanliness, crew professionalism, changes, problem resolution, and the finished result create a much richer trust library. And they're going to help homeowners and machines understand what the company is actually like to work with. And then you need machine-readable website architecture. The website should make services, locations, team members, credentials, warranties, processes, financing, project experience, and contact information easy to find. Structured data should reinforce all of those facts. Navigation should be clear. Important information should not be buried inside graphics or vague sales language. A strong website still serves people, but it also has to be legible to systems. And then you need situational content authority. Homeowners are increasingly asking full contextual questions rather than using short keywords. So strong content should address real decisions that involve budget uncertainty, hidden conditions, allowances, warranties, communication, disruption, permits, material trade-offs, and the evaluation of contractor proposals. This content will do more than targeting a phrase. It will demonstrate operating knowledge. It gives AI systems specific evidence that the business understands the situations that homeowners face. And then video as documented expertise. Multimodal AI can interpret spoken explanations, project imagery, and video demonstrations. Project walkthroughs, before and after explanations, cost driver videos, material comparisons, job site protection demonstrations, and answers to common objections create evidence that text alone simply cannot provide. And you always hear us talk about the marketing ecosystem, because the marketing ecosystem is AI infrastructure. A remodeling marketing team, we have always taught contractors to build an ecosystem rather than depend on one platform. That ecosystem can include the website, Google Business Profile, YouTube, social media, email, paid search, local service ads, directories, associations, review sites, community partnerships, and local media. Well, now more than ever, that model matters in this AI-first environment, because every credible source that repeats the same accurate story strengthens the machine confidence. This is digital triangulation at its best. One source makes a claim, multiple independent sources reinforce it. Fragmentation is your biggest enemy. A strong Google Business Profile cannot completely overcome old addresses, conflicting service areas, weak website content, missing credentials, abandoned profiles, and generic reviews. The objective is not merely to be everywhere, it is to be clear and consistent everywhere that matters. So, what should you do now as a remodeling contractor? Well, the correct response, number one, is not to panic. It is disciplined preparation. I want to give you a 6-step plan to strengthen visibility across traditional search and AI-mediated discovery. Number one, audit your entire entity footprint. Create an inventory of every meaningful profile, directory, association, review site, and social platform. Correct duplicate profiles, old locations, inconsistent phone numbers, conflicting service descriptions, and missing credentials. Number two, rebuild your review process. Ask customers to describe the experience in specific terms. Build a repeatable process that captures communication, scheduling, cleanliness, problem resolution, and the quality of your completed work. Build your content around real sales conversations. Use questions from your discovery calls, your estimates, your design meetings, change order discussions, financing conversations, and warranty requests. These questions will closely resemble the prompts homeowners bring to their AI tools. Document your expertise on video. Start with useful, authentic explanations. A clear project walkthrough recorded on a real job site often provides more evidence than a polished brand video that has no substance. Strengthen your website as a trust interface. Clearly explain who the company serves, what it does, where it works, how its process operates, who leads the company, and why homeowners can trust it. And then keep proven channels while expanding the strategy. Continue capturing existing demand through SEO and paid search, and at the same time improve entity consistency, brand visibility, machine readability, and revenue-based measurement. Remember, diversification is the responsible response to platform change. The new competitive advantage for you is clarity. AI cannot reward what it cannot understand. A remodeling company may be operationally excellent and digitally ambiguous at the same time. And that gap is now a strategic liability. Ask yourself a hard question. Does your company's online presence communicate the same discipline, integrity, and professionalism that customers experience after they hire it? Operational excellence has to be translated into digital evidence. Documented processes, detailed project stories, team profiles, warranty explanations, specific customer reviews, consistent credentials, educational video, and authoritative third-party references. These assets take time to build, and that's good news for contractors who are willing to begin now. A competitor can't manufacture several years of credible evidence in a few weeks. So stop chasing the click and start building the recommendation. The decline of the click does not mean the end of websites, SEO, or paid search. It means that the role of each one of those things is changing. The contractor's website now serves two audiences: the homeowner who eventually visits, and the AI that is evaluating the company before that visit ever occurs. Reviews serve homeowners, but they also create structured evidence. Video builds emotional trust, but it also documents expertise. Listings help people find the business, but they also help machines resolve the entity. The next phase of local market dominance will not belong solely to the contractor with the highest ranking or the largest advertising budget. It will belong to the business that is easiest for both humans and machines to understand, verify, and trust. The search after the search is already underway. So build it before declining traffic forces the conversation. Thanks for tuning in today, and I hope you'll join us on the next episode. I look forward to talking with you again soon.